Inside of Configit Ace, we have multiple ways to write rules very easily and effectively. And that's part of the power of Configit's declarative modeling approach. I'm going to show you 3 quick ways to write one rule inside of Configit Ace. First, a text rule, then a decision table, and then finally using a data table. So using a text rule, we can define, let's say we're doing facility power or voltage versus market. Now for this, we can define a start date of the rule and an end date of the rule. So if you have effectivity where this rule applies, you can assign it using our system. Maybe this is marketing focused or engineering focused. And then of course, we can go ahead and start writing our rule. So here we're going to say if, and then we're going to use our little insert feature here. And if market is US, then what we need to do is we need to define the different voltages that are applicable for this. So let's go ahead and do that now. So let's just say if the market is US, then we need to specify the different types of voltages that are available. So mean power facility voltage inside the US, we have both a 220 volt and a 480 volt. So we are specifying it this way. I'll go ahead and type 480. And you can see it's really easy to validate what you have inside of the system. So this one's a very basic text rule. If market is USA, then you have to have the main facility power be either 220 volts or 480 volt. Everything else cannot be selected. Now, what's really interesting inside of here is, let's say you're typing your results inside of here and you make a typo. In traditional based systems, it's going to give you an error when you run it live in production. It's not going to let you know you have an error in advance. Well, with Configit Ace, you can validate your rules in advance, and it also lets you know precisely what about the rule is invalid. In this case, we have a particular feature that is not a valid selection because the code is not recognized. I'll go ahead and change that back and now revalidate it. So we are in great shape. So my question to you is, if you make a typo inside your existing system, what is the resource time required to debug? And what is the financial impact on being able to resolve this downstream in manufacturing? It could be very costly. Now, this rule can obviously get expanded out. If market is US, we can also do if market is Canada, if market is South America, etc., etc. I'm going to go ahead and discard this though, because this is the long way to do it, even though it offers you precise methods. I'm going to go ahead and show you next a decision table. A decision table, let's do the same description, same start and end dates. And then, of course, what we can do here is we can create dynamic tables so that it consumes our logic. So here I want to do market, and we're going to add that as a column. And then I also want to cross-reference that against the main facility power or voltage. I'm going to add that as a row. As you can see, we very quickly and easily created a table from scratch that uses our product codes inside of our data. Now, this makes it a lot easier to just go through and start selecting everything. So, Canada 480 and 600, US we have 220 and 480. So it's very quick and easy to make a rule based on a checkbox table. Now, this isn't just 2-dimensional, it can go 3-dimensional, right? So if we wanted to do different derivatives, we can add that as a column header, and you can expand out your table to have more complex logic decisions. Now, let's say this is all going to be too much for you, and we're going to go ahead and show you the last version of the rule, the data table. Now, let's say you already have your data somewhere inside your system. It's inside of an Excel spreadsheet from another system or from another platform, whether it's your PLM, your ERP, another CPQ system. All you have to do is import the data from an external source, in this case, an Excel spreadsheet. I'll import my table, upload, and now we have a rule that can be validated. Oh, I got to choose my start and end dates. And I also have to select my rule intent. Once again, part of our technology ensures that you cannot create invalid rules inside of our system. Now I can click validate, the rule's valid, and I have it in a tabular format using product codes that I can import from multiple sources. So this helps make everything very concrete, ensuring you can reuse your rules from other systems to help make sure that you don't make mistakes across your framework, and being able to understand the impact these rules have on your system.